Hello, my name is Mamahe Kalaiman, and welcome to my PSM2 video presentation. My supervisor is Professor Dr. Shuko bin Abdrazak, and my title is a web application for a concentrated social media feed using algorithm based on user engagement. So here is the outline for the video presentation. First of all, we'll go through chapter 1 and move on one by one up until chapter 6. Chapter 1 will contain the problem background, aim, objective, and scope. Chapter 2 will contain the current system analysis, comparison, and technology used. Chapter 3 will be about the methodology, justification, and system requirements. Chapter 4 will be about requirement analysis, project design, database design, and interface design. And Chapter 5 will be about the main functions and testing. Chapter 6 will finally wrap up the video with the conclusion, achievements, and suggested improvement for the system. So Chapter 1, Introduction. Globally, users spend an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes per day on social networks. Meanwhile, in Malaysia, the average time is just under 3 hours per day. The most common reasons are to find funny or entertaining content, to fill up spare time, or to stay up to date with news and current events. The issue emerges when people spend too much time on social media, which is why this project aims to develop a simple solution to create a website that takes posts and content from different social media platforms and filters it and sorts them into one feed. The objectives is to study existing social media platforms and the experience of content consumption. Also to improve on the content feed system by sorting and filtering the content. Also, finally, to evaluate the proposed solution and system of concentrated content feed. The scope of this project will cover as follows. The system will be developed as a web application. The system will focus on compiling, sorting, and filtering the content displayed on the feed. The system will only have some basic functions of other social media platforms such as posting, comments, and saving posts. So chapter 2 is literature review. So comparing to current system, there are not currently many existing system that is quite similar to my proposed solution. So the best idea is to analyze already successful social media platforms and then analyze and then try to improve on what they have done. So the first one is Reddit. This is what the main page looks like. The main advantage is that it gives a user on a choice on how the feed is sorted. However, the main disadvantage is the content is limited on what subreddits the user has followed. So the second one is Pinterest. This is what their page usually looks like. It's much more content on one page compared to Reddit. The main advantage is that they put as so many contents on the main page as possible. Recommended contents based on what user has searched on the website, what they have followed, or interested ideas, and what kind of creators they follow. However, the main disadvantage is that it can be seen as cluttered or unpleasant, and some details can be overlooked when the user is given so many information at once. Now moving on to Hootsuite, which is a social media management website. It focuses more on the business side of thing. Nevertheless, it also has multiple social medias on one side where you can schedule posts and so on. This is what their page looks like. The main advantage is that it gives analytics and insights on social media accounts, and the posts are categorized by each day. However, the main disadvantage is that it's behind a paid subscription. Moving on to Feedient, which is quite similar to my proposed solution. However, it has been shut down since 2015. As you can see from the page here, it has posts from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And the main advantage is that it gives different columns for different social media, giving it an organized look, and having pop-up notification for new posts are a nice touch. But the disadvantage is that it lacks the option to filter out any types of posts, and the fact that it's no longer available. So here's an overall comparison. So here's an overall comparison for the feed orientation, sorting, active users monthly, and the average time spent by user per visit. Here are the technology used. So on the back end, we have Node.js and Sanity. On the front end, we have React and Tailwind. The project will use Google APIs, Reddit API, and YouTube API to be used to fetch data and or authentication. Okay, so chapter 3 is the system development methodology. So the chosen methodology is DevOps, which is siloed into two departments, which is development and operations. It allows continuous integration and continuous development at the same time. The two departments of development and operation work together in the single lifecycle loop. So why this project will use DevOps? It is because its nature of continuous integration while also having continuous development. Using DevOps, it enables us to add more social media platforms to link with our platform in the future, whilst having the site still operational. So this is the phases of DevOps, starting with plan, and then coding, building, followed by testing, release, deploy, operate, and monitoring. Okay, so chapter 4 is requirement analysis and design. The basic system behavior is defined by functional requirements, and non-functional requirements explain how the system should accomplish a certain task. So here are the functional requirements from logging in and registering, interacting with the content feed, creating a post, pulling information, fetching of information from connected social media accounts, also detect and prioritize important contents to the top of the feed. Here are the non-functional requirements from the application should be able to run on any browser. Application should be able to dynamically adjust proportions, which means being responsive. And the application should be able to utilize the public social media's respective APIs. So here's the overall use cases. 1, registering and logging in, connecting to, saving and comment, post, and viewing the feed. This is what registering and login looks like from the login page. User sign in using Google account. The response is then saved into the database, and then user is redirected to the homepage. This one is connecting to a social media platform from YouTube or Reddit, which then they will request videos or posts from their platform, and then we store them on the database and then update them up and display them on the feed. Here is saving and comment. So user can click save, or user can enter a comment, then that information will be updated in the database and then displayed accordingly on the website. Posting, so user creates a post and then the post is saved and then it is displayed accordingly on the website. Finally, viewing the feed, so when user goes to the homepage, it checks for new post and then fetches posts from the database, and then it sorts and generate the feed accordingly, and finally displays them. So here's an overall class diagram. From top we have user class, and then YouTube post, post and Reddit post. At the bottom we have save, so for when user are saving post, posted by, so who created the post, and comments attached to each post. So here's the UI for the login page. There's a welcome message, welcome to BlitzFeed, and it's also features the login using Google account at the bottom there. So this is what the main page looks like, the home page looks like. Each post is features images, or can feature images, videos, or thumbnails, also just plain text. So here is a post from Reddit, which has an icon at the bottom right. A post from YouTube has an icon of YouTube on the bottom right. Also, native post will have an ends icon on the bottom right. So this is what the user profile looks like. Buttons to connect to YouTube, connect to Reddit, or coming soon. At the bottom we also have tabs for posts created by the user or posts saved by the users. This is the creating post page, where user can enter the information, upload an image, then save the post, and then it'll be displayed accordingly. This is the post details. So this is what happens when you click on a post on the main page. It'll display a post detail page like this. This one is for YouTube. This one is for Reddit. This one is for the native post. Moving on to chapter 5, which is implementation and testing. So here we have the Google authentication functions. The bottom one loads in when the login page renders, and the top one is for handling the response for when Google sends the response after verifying the user. This one is for fetching YouTube videos with the URL and API keys at the top. It fetches the top 10 YouTube videos that is trending at the day, and then it creates a score, divides by dividing the views by 1 million, and then it saves the post onto the database. So this one is fetching Reddit post. At the top, it fetches also the top 10 Reddit posts of the day, and then it saves the post onto the database along with the score. Instead of dividing by 1 million per views, this one is divided by upvotes. It's determined by upvotes, divided by 100. So we're gonna take a look at a few query that is used to sort and display feed. This one is the query for the main feed that sorts the post based on the score of each post. Meanwhile, this one is to display post created by the user. This one is post saved for by the user. This one is the search query that is used on the search bar at the top. This one is the category of each post, so YouTube, Reddit, or native, which are categories. This one, this function is for creating posts. So when user enters information on the create post page and click the save post button, it triggers this function. This one is for saving posts and deleting posts. The top one is for saving posts and then attach them to a user, and then the bottom one is the deleting post function if the user is the creator of said post. This function is for comment. So when user enters a comment, it saves it into the database here. This one is for searching posts. So the function on that is used on the top of the navigation bar of the website. Now moving on to testing, there's overall 4 types of testing: black box testing, system flow testing, white box testing, and user testing. So this is what the black box testing looks like from Google sign in, post comment, and create posts. All of them are successful. Same thing on white box testing, where we test all of the source files. System flow test is to test the system flow and what each button and where all the redirects go. All of them are successful. User testings here also listed with all the features they have tested, the status, and any comments they gave to improve the system. So chapter 6 is the conclusion of the project. So here are some of the achievements I've made throughout PSM2. First of all, I managed to learn necessary skills needed to develop this application. I've also improved my understanding of JavaScript and also learned a few different frameworks for the development of my web application. I've also managed to conduct multiple API testing and better understand the request and response format for implementation of the web application. Finally, I've managed to develop a proof of concept to show it is possible to build the proposed solution of my problem background. So here are plans for implementations and suggestions for improvements. Also based on the user testing, is to implement more platforms and API to be connected to the web application. That's the first one. Also enabling more features that allows user to interact with more platforms through the web application is also another one. Finally, is to improve the security and authentication for users and their information is one of the most important one at that. Thank you for your attention. That has been my video presentation. Uh, yeah.